guys, welcome to the first episode of Comment Compassion, where I scroll through all the comments and keep the ones that I think are asking more complex questions or just things that we related to react in the video. Yeah, so let's just get into it. One of our patrons, yay! Thank you, Camila. My sister has an FE smile, for example, but she has been typed as an ESFP. Oh yeah, so basically she's wondering if her smile is FE because she has subconscious FE. Is that possible? I would think no. For visual typing purposes, it's for the conscious kind of functions.
Yeah, but I think if the FI smile is just maybe not super obviously upwards in motion, maybe like there's a potential to misinterpret that as an FE smile.
Oh yeah, the room for misinterpretation is quite big for visual typing when you're first starting out. You have to look at a huge amount of people and just basically be on the alert all the time.
Yeah.
Like it's basically programmed into my brain that I just analyze people all the time visually.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that your sister is not ESFP, but you might be misinterpreting whether her smile is FI or FE.
But generally, from what we've seen, unconscious functions don't really play into the microexpressions. Maybe like occasionally, but like not on any large extent at all.
Yeah, it's hard to say if the eye movements are just random mistakes or if, that's a subconscious in eye talk.
Right,
you know?
yeah.
Oh, right, this comment. I love this comment from Concept Imper. Okay, both of you are extrovert. How do I know you talk fast without any pauses? Front brain dominant. I don't really know what he means. But anyway, and me, welcome to Extroverted Intuition, talking fast. But also, high SI can talk fast, high SE can talk fast. Even high NI can talk fast when it's like, do you see when Alex is excited? She talks pretty quickly.
I think if I have like a predetermined thing in my mind, I can speed up pretty quickly. So
yeah. Once again, nothing to do with introversion, extroversion.
Yeah. And also nothing to do with like even the social drive introversion, extroversion thing too.
Yeah, some people, I think, just even train themselves to talk in a more languid pace because they think it might be more emotionally effective, for example. How did you guys find your types? All right, so this person is wanting to know if they're FE or FI. When I was a little kid, I used to sit and imagine what it would be like to experience something horrible happen to me so I could empathize with other people. But now I feel like their feelings are my own. So basically now they think they have like automatic empathy. Can you have FE but with developed FI? Well, I guess in socionics, you're supposed to have either like strong conscious FE with strong subconscious FI or the other way around. But like, yeah, one of your functions is supposed to be conscious and the other subconscious.
Yeah, I guess it's hard to say based on just like your behaviors and stuff. Probably both FI, FE users might imagine what it would be like to experience something horrible or I think FE and FI both kind of empathize, but just like in different processes.
Yeah, I think empathy, it might be its own separate thing as well.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you hear about EQ, like emotional quotient, where people just identify feelings and can kind of walk in other people's shoes. But in terms of FI and FE, I think a more reliable way is how emotionally affective you are. And when you have emotions, do you consciously transfer it or is it more just kept within yourself? I think the conscious part is really important. I think like a lot of times the FI people might be like happy and other people like can see that, but are they doing, like do they know that they're doing it? Probably not.
Yeah. And it's probably hard to assess yourself because you really only know what it's like to be in your own mind and not anyone else's. And it's hard to kind of view like yourself objectively a lot of times. So like you might think you have developed FE as an FI user if you kind of know how to like respond to someone when they're like emotional or do the kind of socially appropriate things, but it's like that's just behaviors. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're using the cognitive function of FE. An easy way to tell it also is like FI kind of tends to talk about their singular experience, or at least high FI tends to talk about their singular experience and their kind of values and opinions based on that, and FE kind of relates it in a more kind of universal way for other people to pick up and understand.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, instead of being hung up on what you feel or don't feel, or feel you feel and feel like you don't feel, just kind of observe more how you relate to others.
Right.
Okay, so this comment from Demon Windu, basically talking about my persona. Yeah, basically he's asking if I try to look more masculine in the corporate world, but it bothers your FI, blah, blah, and that's why you don't like having a job. I think for me it's the opposite. I think that's like a big challenge of work because I know that I'm supposed to seem a certain way and there's that expectation, but I just don't do it. I'm constantly thinking, oh, maybe I should like appear this way and it'll make my life easier. But then I don't. So this INTP is asking us about the breakup scenarios. I do, however, at low or lonely points when I've been single, have melancholy memories or rich, dreamlike waves of what could have been with past people who I still feel deeply towards, and kind of have a tattooed my memory. Yeah, and then do you think, does that ring true for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think that sounds like an SI thing, probably.
Yeah, so you're saying like you don't relate.
Well, man, it's hard for me to say because I don't think I've ever had like a super strong attachment to anybody.
What if that's like a SI thing?
Yeah, it could be.
Like, you're not attached because NI is always looking towards the future.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like I've been really attached in the present moment. But then like once it's over, it's like that's it.
I would say I relate to this, the whole like what could have been thing, just for everything. Like, I could have been applying to go study abroad. Oh yeah, still remember applying to go study abroad in like Cuba or whatever, but then they canceled the program and I'm just thinking, oh, what could have been, what? And they canceled it because they didn't have enough people. So I keep thinking like, if I convinced all my friends to do it, then we would have all got. Yeah, right. It's just the tattooed like my memories intensely, and the like rich dream-like waves. I don't know what you mean by that, but in terms of visualization, not literal dreams, I can have elaborate visual movie-like scenarios in my head of past events that could have gone in a different way.
I feel like the whole what could have been thing is also like NE, because I feel like even with SE, but maybe if there's high SE users, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like SE kind of just accepts reality as is. And it's like...
It's so true.
So sometimes I think like maybe like a replicated event of that in the future. So like to parallel with the Cuba thing, I might probably wouldn't think about like, oh, what happened if I had gone to Cuba at that point? Would there be a different trajectory in my life? But I might just be like, well, what would happen if I could find another way to go to Cuba in the future? But that's probably also high and high.
It kind of makes sense with another comment that we got. I don't know if it's their own theory, but they were saying that the NTPs, SFJs are the universalists,
right,
and the NFPs, STJs are the idealists, and both of those are SI and E. I was just thinking, oh yeah, that does fit, because both universalism and idealism are kind of not in terms of realism. They're not real. The only way to be universal is if it's almost like collapsing reality into a theory. And for idealism is collapsing reality into your desires. Anyway, a new video topic is born. So if you guys want to read this comment, you can kind of pause, and I think I just feel bad that we don't have a TI person. So I think I trust this person is TI based on his explanations. So it's like, oh, this is kind of nice. He explains the TI. But what I think is interesting is if he really is an ENTP, he would probably have TI, SI. And I think I just related to how he just lists all these things. I think that's how my FI, SI works. It's just like you're trying to do this internal framework by listing out a bunch of things via SI. And I think like a ESTP or ISTP or like ISFP with FI-NI or TI-NI would be like really different. It'd be like more of a general TI trend instead of like, oh, things ABC plus things EFG is like TI. Yeah, I just wanted to share that. Oh yeah, this comment was so interesting. In this video, we were hypothesizing that TI people just think, oh, this is the way the world is. But then this person is saying, oh, that strikes me as so TE, whereas TI is more, I guess they're saying, is idealistic because what people are doing is illogical, but you accept that this is the way the world is as a truth, but more so as a folly of humanity rather than a necessity.
That makes sense. I kind of relate to that with like FI and FE. Yeah, because I feel like maybe FE to an extent kind of sees that this is the way the world is in a social, emotional kind of sense, but also can try to affect to change it like the way TE would. But yeah, FI is like, okay, maybe that's true, but like I'm just in my own bubble and none of that really matters anyways. So maybe that's like what TI is like. Right. It's like, okay, yeah, there's all this crap happening out there, but here's my like logical framework that makes sense, and that's really all that matters.
I guess when I said that for TI, this is the way the world is, I didn't really necessarily mean that they like it. It's just more like they try to understand how the world is.
Yeah, I understand what you mean by like how that could be TE. It's like TE is kind of like, here's these external things and it's like, that's just where it is and maybe we can change it now, but that's how it was at that moment. And TI is just like, right, okay, there is some truth to that, but it's not a necessity because these internal logical principles could, you know, make it a different way. Or that's interesting.
Oh my god, is this me having ace function TI? I can never talk about TI properly.
Yeah, the nodding thing. I think that's probably maybe someone who leads with internal perception, perhaps. Both internal perception, either NI or SI, processing what is happening, and then also the auxiliary, either TE or FE, kind of communicating to that person that like, yes, I am hearing what you're saying, even though I'm silent, but I'm like, I just have to process it first.
Oh, that's interesting. I thought of it as more of like a JE thing, like, okay, let me communicate that I understood.
Well, that's what I'm saying, yeah, it is that JE thing, but I think it's a necessity because we, like maybe like a JE Dom could just like react immediately with like their decision on that matter, but I think with having that PI first, we're like, okay, yes, we're hearing what you're saying, but like, you know, I need a minute.
Oh, interesting. Congrats for like a super articulate comment.
Yeah. I mean, okay, yeah, there definitely is some truth that I think this term of like collective unconscious, or just specifically collective, is kind of more related to the FE-TI axis. Yeah, in that there's more universality, like you say, of like, I guess, FE kind of seeing all the different external values or weights to relate to people, and TI kind of synthesizing that into some sort of model that makes sense of it all. I guess it's just different, right? Like with INTJ, it's just more individualist, but I think NI does try to kind of project our individual experiences into something that is more broad in scope.
I feel like INTJs tend to just predict individual behaviors.
Yeah.
It's like, I think they predict people as individuals,
right,
or even like corporations as individuals. Maybe that's what they meant by system universality. I think INTJs can predict the outcome of like one corporation, but then in that sense, a corporation is its own individual case instead of like anything pertaining to like a universal, systematized way of understanding.
Yeah, because in that sense, I kind of do almost relate to the sense of human universalities, gosh, I cannot pronounce that. But yeah, it's more about, I think, the idea of interpreting every human as an individual and trying to figure out their own individual perception. I think TIFE kind of tries to find the base commonality maybe between all of these sorts of human systems. But yeah, I think why NI is related to the unconscious is because the way we come up with our thoughts is maybe even something we're unaware of. So I kind of get that, but I think maybe it's just because NI is so broad in scope and we don't remember the specific data in which we use to support those broad theories, and maybe also because our mind is more visually oriented, so we don't always have that specific verbal information right at the forefront of our mind to explain our thoughts, so it seems kind of more mystical and mysterious, but I think it's probably in the conscious. Well, I mean, I guess I don't know. We are neurologists, but I don't think it's necessarily special from the other cognitive functions in that sense.
I don't know, I guess I just think of each consciousness as so separate, but maybe that's my little like FITE talking.
Right. I think there is a collective unconscious, because I think there's like different early cultures that had no...
Oh, like they had no communication with each other, but then they had the same like...
religions or stories or archetypes and so that kind of thing. But maybe that's just because everyone observed the same human...
Individual consciousness have like
similarities.
Okay, I think we need to wrap it up. Yeah, I know. We need to like wrap it up before we get into La La Land. Thanks for watching. Let us know if you like these kinds of videos, I guess. We'll try to keep pulling out some of the comments.
Yeah, and if you guys want to support our channel, you can check out our Patreon page where we give you guys exclusive perks, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye!
Oh god, I think the way that I ended that was so like FE0. Was like, no, I'm done.